First things first, this video is going to be incredibly long, probably the longest video I have ever made on this channel. And quite honestly, you all need to hear what this woman's going to say. Becca Balint, Democratic representative of Vermont, actually laid down resolution to censure, of course, everyone's favorite Maga wench, Marjorie Greene. Now, it's not for anything recent, although things have recently happened. But for 15 minutes, she goes off. She doesn't go off on a spiel. She names every single thing that Marjorie Greene has done in Congress. And believe you me, it sounds like a book of sins that God keeps on her, on every one of us. And quite honestly, it'll chill you to the bone. So I'm going to give you fair warning. This video is going to be incredibly long. It's going to be incredibly disturbing. Because I interject with the receipts. Everything that the representative Balint actually names, I actually give the receipts for in the views of photographs, of videos, all confirming what Representative Balint says about Marjorie Greene. And trust me, you're gonna cry about this. You're gonna hate my guts for showing you all of it. But honestly, you need to see it, and you need to pay attention to everything this Congresswoman says and everything that she has done. Because quite honestly, if we continue to close our eyes to what this woman, Marjorie Greene, has done, nothing will be done against her. And trust me, that's even worse than what could ever possibly happen if she's allowed to continue to act like this. Congresswoman Balint, you have the floor.
I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution 610, censuring Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Whereas Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has repeatedly fanned the flames of racism, anti-Semitism, hate speech against the LGBTQ community, Islamophobia, Asian hate, xenophobia, and other forms of hatred. Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene has repeatedly debased the memories of thousands of victims of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001, by perpetuating conspiracy theories to shift blame and responsibility for mass murder.
She once supported a conspiracy theory about 9/11.
The so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the...
Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene has repeatedly assaulted the foundation of our democracy by perpetuating conspiracy theories related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol, which sought to halt the peaceful transfer of power.
January 6th was just a riot at the Capitol. And if you think about what our Declaration of Independence says, it says to overthrow tyrants.
Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene has repeatedly called for violence against elected officials and their families.
He indicated that she supported executing Democratic members of Congress, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. There was a post in which, and this is really graphic stuff, somebody said a bullet to the head would be an easier way to remove Pelosi, and Greene liked that comment. She also repeatedly liked these comments about executing members of the FBI who she claimed were part of the deep state conspiracy against President Trump. And sort of the backdrop to this was she was leading this petition to impeach Pelosi, saying she was guilty of treason. And she gave many speeches in support of this. And in many of those actually also, suggested that Pelosi could be executed for treason.
Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene has repeatedly espoused anti-Semitic rhetoric and conspiracy theories, including through inflammatory evocations of the Holocaust.
You know, we can look back in a time in history where people were told to wear a gold star, and they were definitely treated like second-class citizens, so much so that they were put in trains and taken to gas chambers in Nazi Germany. And this is exactly the type of abuse that Nancy Pelosi is talking about.
Whereas on May 20th, 2021, Marjorie Taylor Greene said that the mask mandate in the House of Representatives was akin to Jews being put in trains and taken to gas chambers in Nazi Germany.
Were definitely treated like second-class citizens, so much so that they were put in trains and taken to gas chambers in Nazi Germany. And this is exactly the type of abuse that Nancy Pelosi is talking about.
Now, this is not. Whereas on May 25th, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, quote, vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo, just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star. Whereas on February 26th, 2022, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared at a white nationalist event that was condemned by the Republican Jewish Coalition as, quote, appalling and outrageous that a member of Congress would share a platform with an individual who has actively spread anti-Semitic bile, mocked the Holocaust, and promoted dangerous anti-Israel conspiracy theories. Whereas on September 1st, 2022, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a tweet comparing President Joe Biden to Adolf Hitler that said, quote, Joe Biden is Hitler, hashtag Nazi Joe has to go, unquote. Whereas on September 1st, 2022, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted another tweet of a doctored video showing President Biden speaking with audio of Hitler, swastikas in the background, and a mustache akin to that of Hitler. Whereas on July 21st, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said that if she was, quote, in charge, she would kick out every single Chinese in this country that is loyal to the CTP. They would be gone.
I would kick out every single Chinese in this country that is loyal to the CCP.
And
they would be gone.
If you've signed
I do not care who they are.
If you've signed one of those documents that says that you've got to report
back to China, I don't care how much money you have, how much land you own, how many businesses you own, how much money you've donated to colleges and universities. I don't care about who your kid is and how many students you've sent to
Jack Ma, all these guys, all these people that are part of the
science, they are loyal to the CCP. They go.
Whereas on December 19th, 2021, while at a Turning Point USA conference, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene referred to Asian Americans as, quote, yellow people, a slur that has been historically used to malign the Asian American community in the United States.
So I'm walking around and seeing some good people, and I see white people, black people, brown people, yellow people, and then there's talk of freedom.
Whereas Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has a history of perpetuating LGBTQ hate speech, including through her use of offensive posters in the halls of congressional office buildings beginning on February 24th, 2021. Whereas on November 22nd, 2022, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted that an LGBTQ California state senator was, quote, a communist groomer, unquote, an offensive slur that has been used to stoke fear and incite hatred of LGBTQ Americans. Whereas on March 7th, 2023, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene again referred to members of the LGBTQ community as, quote, groomers, and spouted anti-trans rhetoric on the floor of the House of Representatives.
This bill will stop gender-affirming care on children. It will protect children from the heinous and evil ideology that is grooming kids and making a profit off of horrific surgeries that mutilate their genitals, give them life-altering medications like puberty.
Whereas on June 1st, 2023, the first day of Pride Month, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted a photo showing an anti-trans poster that she had displayed in the hall outside of her congressional office. Whereas on February 22nd, 2019, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a video on Facebook claiming that the Muslim American members of Congress were not, quote, really official because they didn't take the oath of office on the Bible.
Oh, we have the Bible. We're going to talk about swearing in on the oath, how to swear in on the Bible with them, and let them know what our law says, that you can't swear in on the Quran. So we're gonna explain to that. You know, we're gonna explain about how you can't swear in on the Quran, and we're gonna have the Bible and ask them if they would swear in on the Bible. That we really need them.
We have the oath.
Yeah, we have the oath. Yep. So I think that's important.
Now they can. The sad thing is now
you're infringing on our religion.
Which you should not.
You're infringing on our religion.
Yes.
By saying that we can't swear in on the Quran.
But when they swore in, it wasn't a law yet, right? At the time they swore in.
I don't know.
I think at the time they swore in, that wasn't passed.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been passed in a Republican control.
Right.
Yeah, so it was passed after they swore in. So they're not really official, I don't think. So let's go ask them to swear in the Bible. Because like you said, Will,
It has to be the Holy Bible?
Yeah, it has to be the Bible.
Well, the bottom line is Sharia law is not compatible with America.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Yeah, I truly feel like.
Whereas on June 17th, 2020, Politico reported that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene repeatedly engaged in Islamophobic rhetoric and suggested that Muslim Americans do not belong in the United States government.
There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now, okay? You saw after midterm elections, we saw so many Muslims elected. I don't know the exact number, but there were quite a few. We had that woman out of Minnesota. Now she's going into Congress and she's got to wear a head covering. You know, they want to put their hand on the Quran and be sworn in. No, you have to be sworn in on the Bible. But we have an Islamic invasion into our government offices. Now, yes, I'll say this, we have freedom of religion in this country that protects anyone to have any kind of religion that they want. And that's great. That's one of our freedoms, right? But I'm sorry, anyone that is a Muslim that believes in Sharia law does not belong in our government. They don't. Islam Sharia law is the most brutal. It is a horrible, horrible law. They brutalize women. They throw gay people off of buildings. It is not a place for justice. No. This is a place where the men over there, they can have sex with anybody they want. They have sex with little boys, little girls, multiple women. They marry as many women as they want. They marry their sisters, their cousins. I'm sorry. That is not dignity. That is not justice. That is not compassion. That's not love for humanity.
Whereas on May 10th, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene yet again referred to fellow Muslim American members of Congress as, quote, the Jihad Squad. Whereas on June 17th, 2020, Politico reported that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene referred to Black Americans as, quote, slaves to the Democratic Party and said that they should be proud to see Confederate monuments. Whereas on June 17th, 2020, Politico further reported that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene stated in a video, quote, I know a ton of white people that are as lazy and sorry and probably worse than black people, unquote.
I know a ton of white people that are as lazy and sorry and probably worse than black people I know.
Whereas on May 18th, 2023, Marjorie Taylor Greene compared being called a white supremacist to a person of color being called the N-word, a vile racial slur.
Maul Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen.
Whereas on January 28th, 2021, a video of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene resurfaced in which she used a harmful and offensive slur targeting Americans with disabilities with the National Down Syndrome Society called, quote, heartbreaking and unacceptable.
There's your wall money right there, everybody. I mean, this is like, it's so stupid simple. It's not even funny. It's stupid simple. But we have.
Whereas on November 1st, 2018, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene denied the attacks on September 11th, saying there was, quote, a so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon, and, quote, it's odd that there's never been any evidence to show a plane at the Pentagon.
Okay, well, do you guys remember on 9/11 when an airplane crashed in Pennsylvania? A jetliner. Remember that?
It didn't kill anybody on the ground, killed everyone on board, but it didn't kill anyone on the ground. So they want to tell all of us that it was too risky to take down that Chinese spy balloon.
Whereas on November 17th, 2018, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene peddled a vile anti-Semitic trope when she claimed that wildfires in California were caused by space lasers operated by members of the Jewish community. Whereas on August 17th, 2020, a video of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene resurfaced in which she stated that the mass shooting at the Country Music Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada, where 60 people were murdered, was perpetuated in order to pass anti-gun legislation.
I've got a question for you. How do you get avid gun owners and people that support the Second Amendment to give up their guns and go along with anti-gun legislation? How do you do that? Maybe you accomplish that by performing a mass shooting into a crowd that is very likely to be conservative, very likely to vote Republican, very likely to be Trump supporters, very likely to be pro-Second Amendment, and very likely to own guns. You make them scared, you make them victims, and you change their mindset, and then possibly you can pass anti-gun legislation. Is that what happened in Las Vegas? Is that why the Country Music Festival was targeted? Because those would be the people, would be the ones that we would relate to? Are they trying to terrorize our mindset and change our minds on the Second Amendment? Is that what's going on here? I have a lot of questions about that. I don't believe Stephen Paddock was a lone wolf. I don't believe that he pulled this off all by himself. And I know most of you don't either. So I am really wondering if there's a bigger motive there, and does it have to do with the Second Amendment? Because what's the best way to control the people?
Whereas on January 19th, 2021, Media Matters published a screenshot of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Facebook, where she emphatically agreed that the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where 17 American students and teachers were murdered, was a false flag event. Whereas on January 21st, 2021, Media Matters published a screenshot on Facebook, a comment that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted that claimed 9/11 was, quote, done by our own government, to which she responded, that is all true. Whereas that same comment, liked and agreed to by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, further claimed that the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, where 26 people, including 20 precious children, were murdered, was staged. Whereas on September 3rd, 2020, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted an image of herself holding a gun next to images of 3 members of Congress with a caption encouraging, quote, going on offense after them. Whereas on January 26, 2021, CNN reported on posts, comments, and likes by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from 2018 and 2019, in which Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene liked several posts and comments on Facebook demonstrating her support for the execution of several members of the Democratic Party, including the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and President Barack Obama. Whereas on January 26, 2021, CNN further reported that Marjorie Taylor Greene liked a Facebook comment on January 2019 that stated, quote, a bullet to the head would be quicker in reference to the removal of Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Whereas on January 26, 2021, CNN also reported that deleted videos showed Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for the execution of Speaker Nancy Pelosi and stating that she was, quote, a traitor to our country, that she's guilty of treason and should suffer death or she'll be in prison.
Of treason. She took an oath to protect American citizens and uphold our laws, and she gives aid and comfort to our enemies who illegally invade our land. That's what treason is. Exactly. And by our law, representatives and senators can be kicked out and no longer serve in our government. And it's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is.
And whereas Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has perpetuated the big lie related to the 2020 presidential election by espousing conspiracy theories and by threatening and inciting violence.
Just finished with our meetings here at the White House this afternoon. We had a great planning session for our January 6th objection. We aren't going to let this election be stolen by Joe Biden and the Democrats. President Trump won by a landslide. Call your House reps, call your senators from your states. We've got to make sure they're on board, and we already have a lot of people engaged. Okay.
Whereas on October 26, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene downplayed the actions of those who participated in the January 6th attack on the Capitol and said, quote, if you think about what our Declaration of Independence says, it says to overthrow tyrants.
It was a mistake for Kevin McCarthy to remove all of the Republicans off the January 6th committee once Pelosi took off Jim Banks and Jim Jordan.
You know what I think? I think the American people are fed up with this over-dramatization of a riot that happened here at the Capitol one time. You know what they care about? They care about the border that's getting invaded. They care about the gas prices they can't afford, the food prices. In my district, if you talk to real Americans, you're going to hear a totally different story. They are sick and tired of January 6th. It's over, okay? It was a riot. It was horrible. I hated it. I was shocked. It was a terrible experience. People are rotting in jail pre-trial because they've been arrested for it. Why don't you go to the jail and visit those people?
Whereas on November 4th, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene went to visit those incarcerated related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol, in which she referred to them as, quote, the Patriot wing of the D.C. jail. Whereas on November 10th, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene referred to those who participated in the January 6th attack on the Capitol as, quote, political prisoners of war. Whereas on December 10th, 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said that if she had organized the January 6th attack on the Capitol, quote, we would have won. Not to mention, we would have been.
I come to Washington. I swear in on January 3rd. I get accused of giving insurrection tours, which I thought was hilarious because I couldn't even find the bathroom in the Capitol. True story. Then January 6th happens, and next thing you know, I organized the whole thing along with Steve Bannon here. And I want to tell you something. If Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, it would have been armed. Yeah. See, that's the whole joke, isn't it? They say that whole thing was planned, and I'm like, are you kidding me? A bunch of conservatives, Second Amendment supporters went in the Capitol without guns, and they think that we organized that? I don't think so.
Whereas on July 19th, 2023, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene displayed pornographic images during an official committee hearing that she claimed depicted a member of President Biden's family. Whereas on July 19th, 2023, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene sent an official press release and posted to her official congressional website a public hearing commentary featuring pornographic images she claimed depicted a member of President Biden's family. Whereas members of Congress have promised to always have the back of Marjorie Taylor Greene, no matter the extent of her vile and hateful behavior, now therefore be it resolved that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene be censured. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the crimes against Marjorie Taylor Greene as a Congresswoman. Now, I'm not arrogant to think, or naive enough to think that this will happen, that Marjorie Taylor Greene will be censured. Remember, we just got a new Speaker of the House who is ultra MAGA. And even after he's ultra MAGA, the MAGA in Congress want to have his head because he wants funding for Ukraine. Because he's not hard line against the big lie that Donald Trump won the 2020 election and it was stolen from him. Excuse me. But this needs to happen. No. In fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to be expelled from Congress. She, like a lot of the MAGA, especially people like Jim Jordan, have done absolutely, positively nothing in Congress. They have not sponsored any bills to make Americans' lives better. They just talk rhetoric and expect Americans to fall in line, her district to fall in line. As for Representative Balint, thank you. Thank you for having the guts and the courage to say something about this woman. And I'm not saying that other members of Congress aren't sick and tired of Marjorie Taylor Greene either. But someone needs to stand up the way that she did. This woman is cancer to this country. That woman is nothing but a plague on our nation. She's done nothing to advance our country. She has done everything she can to help one person. And of course, that person I speak of is Donald Trump. In the 25 minutes you saw on that video, you haven't heard a single thing from Balint about how Marjorie Taylor Greene helped this country. You've only seen everything she has done to hurt this country and its people. Maligning members of Congress, maligning the presidency. 2 presidents, may I add. Because she is not only just about Biden, she's all hawk against Obama. She has defamed and insulted citizens of this country because they're citizens of color, and because they're citizens of the LGBTQ, or they may be citizens that have developmental or physical problems. How long are we going to let this woman make a mockery of what this country is supposed to be about? Thanks to people like Mike Johnson, the new House Speaker, this woman has pretty much a security blanket. She thinks she's untouchable. It's time for us to stop with the resolutions and the rhetoric and get her out of Congress. You expelled Al Franken because of some quote-unquote lewd photos or lewd jokes or whatever. What Marjorie Taylor Greene, you all saw this. I showed you the receipts. What she has done in her time in Congress is 10,000 times worse. And it's put our country, our people at risk over and over and over and over and over again. And why? What is the motive for her doing all of this? Is it for power? Obviously. For money? Obviously. The chief point is she's trying to be, I feel like this is a rat race to be just as bad as Donald Trump. To show, I can be bad as him. Well, look at me, I can be bad as him. And all the while, our country suffers. In one of these clips, she said, talk to people in my district and ask them what things they need to. She mentioned, of course, high gas prices, inflation. What have you done, Greene? What have you seriously done to help these situations? Nothing. If she's an honest woman, and Lord knows she's not, she'll say, I've done nothing to help the situations you speak of. I've made things worse, if you're going to be 100% obvious about it. We need people, especially now. Look at what's happening in the world. The world is at war. Now, not the entire world, mind you. Parts of the world are at war. 2 major wars. Israel is continuing its is pushing its ground invasion, and God knows how many people are going to die on both sides because of that. Russia is continuing its useless war against Ukraine. And the only people screaming that World War III is coming happens to be people like her, who would start World War III if it suited them. Enough is enough. Now, we can censure her all the live long days. She's not going to learn a damn thing. I'm calling for Mike Johnson to have a spine, to get off the lap of the MAGA idiot Donald Trump and expel Marjorie Taylor Greene. At the very least, get her off her committee assignments, especially Homeland Security. You saw clips of her saying that she doesn't believe in 9/11. I should show you the clip of her being forced to apologize and say 9/11 what happened. But that won't change her. It never will. Marjorie Taylor Greene will continue to be the bigoted, monstrous, racist, sexist, unbelievable monster, treasonous, terroristic, gun-toting Congresswoman we know her to be now. It is only a matter of time before she gets it into her head to pull the trigger. And it will happen. Get her out now. If barring that, get her off her committee assignments and let the voters get her out. She doesn't work for the American people. She's done nothing for the American people. All she has done is foment hatred, treason, and murder. That's all she's good for. That's all she'll ever be good for. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.